Hello, I want to welcome everybody that's joining, and we're just going to wait a couple minutes till we get everybody in. So thank you so much. If you'll just hang on, I do have materials in the chat for you to read at this time. Hello, everybody. This is the Organizational Learning and Evaluation Capacity Building TIG, and we welcome you at our business meeting, and we will be starting probably in about 10 minutes. So please just take your time to get something to drink and settle back. I believe we have an excellent agenda that we'll be speaking to. Thank you. I want to welcome everybody to the OL-ECB, Organizational Learning and Evaluation Capacity Building TIG virtual business meeting. We'll be starting a few minutes after 3 o'clock, so please feel free to get yourself something to drink. And in the chat, you'll already see some materials available for you to review.
Chris?
Yes.
Hi, it's Sal.
Yes.
I'm going to go grab lunch in the next room.
Okay.
And listen for things to start.
That's perfect. Thank you.
Good.
Again, I want to welcome everybody to the Organizational Learning and Evaluation Capacity Building TIG. We will start a few minutes after 3 o'clock to give everybody a chance to get in via Zoom and to get connected. And if you have any questions for right now, I have placed some materials in our chat. One is the AEA 2020 Virtual Code of Conduct that we all are following. And you'll also find in this the agenda for today. And we look forward to your participation. So thank you for signing in. So hello, everybody. This is the Organizational Learning and Evaluation Capacity Building TIG virtual business meeting for October 26, 2020. And as people are logging on and getting in, we're just gonna wait a few minutes, probably start at about 5 minutes after 3, so we don't take up too much of your time. So if you'll just give us a few minutes, if you feel the need, please go get yourself a drink on me. You can feel free to charge it to me. But please enjoy yourself and we will get started right away. About 5 minutes after 3. Thank you, everyone. Hello to everybody who's just recently joined us. This is the Organizational Learning and Evaluation Capacity Building TIG virtual meeting for October 26th. We are recording, so if you need to jump in and out, because I noticed that there were many TIGs having the virtual meetings at exactly the same time, we do understand that. So it will be recorded and we will share. So we're just going to wait and start about 3:05. We want to be very respectful of your time and be able to move this forward in just a few minutes.
Hello?
Hello?
Oh, can you hear me? It's Marcella.
Yes, Marcella, we can hear you. Thank you.
All right.
We'll start in about 2 more minutes, just giving people time to get into Zoom and get their audio connected. And if you'll notice, if you'll call up chat so you can see your chat screen, it's located at the bottom of the Zoom and it's right next to participants. It says chat. If you will click on that, you'll be able to see that I've placed some materials in chat for this meeting. So again, this is the Organizational Leadership or Organizational Learning and Evaluation Capacity Building TIG. And this is the 2020 virtual business meeting.
Hi, Chris. This is Tom. Good to
Hi,
see
Tom.
you. Quick question. Since what was put in the chat before someone logs in is not visible to them, so if you have a second, go ahead and put materials back in there so folks who joined after could access them.
Thank you. I was not aware of that. I will do that.
Thank you.
I just truly did not know that.
Yeah, it's one of the quirks of Zoom.
I see. And okay, it's 3:05, and I do want to be respectful. AEA asked us to make sure that if we were going longer than an hour, we could let you know, but the bulk of this business meeting will be completed in an hour's time. And I just had Tom share with me that I needed to re-enter some of the materials for this, excuse me, everybody, when I stumble over my words, for today on the TIG, because once you, if you log in afterwards, then you can't see everything. So what I did was put into there the agenda for today and let me relog this, the AEA virtual code for conduct, which I'm sure you've probably already begun to see everywhere, for behavior for our meetings. So, okay, I'm going to go ahead and start. It's actually 3:06, so I am fortunate. I have all the leadership for our TIG, which is Organizational Learning and Evaluation Capacity Building, is online with us, and I'd like them to go ahead and introduce themselves. I will start. I'm Chrisanna McDemus. I am the one of the co-chairs of the group, and I am at Ohio University. I teach evaluation methods and research. And I've been in evaluation capacity building probably most of my professional life in evaluation. So I look forward to having this meeting. And so right now, Cheryl, could I ask you to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Cheryl Endress, and I'm co-chairing with Chris. I've been an evaluator independently for about 20 years and also teach at Western Michigan University and at Notre Dame University, evaluation courses and research courses. And capacity building is part of teaching others how to become evaluators through the formal methods, as well as walking alongside clients in nonprofit entities. So look forward to having our conversation today.
Thank you, Cheryl. Marcella, would you like to introduce yourself, please?
Sure. Let me see. Hi, my name is Marcela Gutierrez. I'm an independent consultant, also based in Miami, and I have been part of this TIG for about 3 years now. This is my second year as the program co-chair, which I share that responsibility with Cheryl last year for the first time. And of course, this year we did all the work, and then we couldn't put the agenda forward due to COVID. But I'm happy to be here and be a part of the leadership team. And hopefully next year we'll have another great, fantastic program that we can all share in person.
Thank you very much. Sally, could I have you introduce yourself, please?
Sure. I'll even come on camera in all my glory. But then I'm going to go off to finish eating. Sorry, this is about usually when I remember to eat lunch. I'm Sally Bond, past chair, program chair, been on the leadership team for a real long time. I'm an independent consultant down in Pittsboro, North Carolina, which is just south of Chapel Hill. And gosh, been pretty interested in evaluation capacity building for quite some time now. Thanks everyone for being here today. This is really nice turnout.
Thank you very much. Tom, may I have you introduce yourself?
Yes, hello everyone. It's good to see some familiar faces and names and some new ones as well. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Tom Archibald. I'm an associate professor at Virginia Tech and am past program co-chair of this TIG and fairly long time member. In recent years, my involvement in the broader ad hoc leadership team has been to help coordinate some of the webinars that we offer on a periodic basis. Because that's one thing you'll learn about this group is we're really in addition to being really passionate about organizational learning and ECB, we like to try to, we know how popular these topics are. So we try to offer resources and opportunities to the membership beyond just the annual conference. So the webinars, which hopefully some of you have been able to attend, is one way of doing that. So thanks for being with us today.
Thank you very much, Tom. And we have about 27 participants. And what I'd like to do, if you could real quickly, please don't feel the need to turn on your cameras if that's a problem with your web space, your band space. If you would just kind of go through and introduce yourselves one at a time, share your name and maybe why you are interested in this specific TIG, we'd really like that. And I believe we could do that fairly quickly. And so could I have anyone just start us off, please?
I'll start.
Wonderful.
Hi, my name is Michelle Scott Taylor. I am the Chief Program Officer for a nonprofit in Greater Cleveland, but I also do program evaluation kind of on the side. And I'm looking and interested in just developing further my skills, just to make sure that I'm doing things based on current best practices and just wanting to maintain my program evaluation skills since that is not my full-time job.
Excellent. Thank you, Michelle. Tara?
And Chris.
Hi.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to be sure you
Hi,
saw
how
the
are you
hand.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Christiana. Hi, my name is Tahira Hoke, or Tahira, if that's easier for you to pronounce. I'm originally from Los Angeles, California. However, I'm streaming live from Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. I currently, evaluation is actually my full-time job. I am a post-Scrivenite. Dr. Michael Scriven was my chair at Claremont Graduate University, and evaluation is my full-time job. I'm the director of the Evaluation Academic Accreditation Center at Prince Sultan University, as well as the aide to the president on institutional effectiveness. I joined this TIG because organizational learning is at the heart of my job and what I do, and I look forward to serving and supporting your TIG as much as possible. I've been a longtime member of AEA, and I look forward to your presentation today. Thank you so much.
Excellent. Thank you. Molly, could I have you introduce yourself? Or did? Yes.
Sure. Yeah, I'm Molly O'Connor, and I am also an independent consultant. I was an internal evaluator, but then COVID happened, and I decided to just go rogue, and it's been really great. And a lot of my work is evaluation, capacity building. I'm very firm about when I work with people that they learn through the process. So that's why I'm here.
Wonderful. Thank you. I'm going to just leave it up to you, to everybody, to just jump in and start introducing themselves, if you will. I just saw a few hands up and I just called on the hand. So if the next person would like to introduce themselves.
I can go. This is Elizabeth Grimm. I'm the director of community. Can you hear me? Sally's
Yes.
waving. I'm the director of community impact from the Connecticut Data Collaborative based in Hartford, Connecticut. Most of my work is evaluation capacity building there. We call it something different. It's the same process. I've been a lurker on this TIG for a while. Not able to attend too many in-person events, but I have been helping Sally and Rebecca a while ago develop a repository of OL-ECB materials, and then, life happened. So hopefully we'll continue working on that, but glad to be able to join you all today.
Elizabeth, great to meet you. Thank you. Next person, please.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello. Hi. Hello, everybody. I'm Aziz Amsaf. I'm from Morocco. I work for the government. I'm in the public finance audit, and most our work is about performance auditing, but also public policy and program and project evaluation. The last decade, we were asked by the department to perform some evaluation. So I'm in the phase to build the capacity building as an evaluator. So that's why I am here, and I am glad to be among all of them, all of you. Thank you.
Wonderful. Glad to have you. Next person, please.
Go. Is that
Oh.
okay? I didn't know if there was an order. Okay. I'm Shari Smith with Evaluation into Action. I'm out in Portland, Oregon. I'm sorry I'm a little late. Was there anything else we're supposed to say besides who we are and where we're from?
No, just if you wanted to share just a little bit more about why you're interested in this TIG, that would be great.
Yeah, well, capacity building is my passion, so that's why I'm in this TIG. You know, it's a big part of what I do with all of my clients. I work primarily with nonprofits and foundations, and the reason I joined the TIG was to connect with other people of like mind.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Next person.
Hi, my name is Alyssa, and I work in Orange County for a small evaluation firm. We have mainly done higher ed up until this point, but now we are trying to branch into nonprofits, corporate clients, so just seeing what's out there.
Good. That is a wonderful area. Thank you. Next person, please.
I'll go ahead and go. I'm Kristen Rahana. I'm from UCLA. I'm a professor in the Educational Leadership Program. And much of my work is in evaluation before I became faculty at UCLA, but I still work really closely with educators, particularly in the area of continuous improvement, improvement science. And a big piece of that is building the capacity for them to be able to lead that work on their own. So I'm happy to.
No, go ahead, please. Okay, thank you very much, Kristen. We appreciate it. And I do notice that some people are introducing themselves on chat, so feel free to either physically introduce yourself or place your information on chat, just so we can get to know each other, because we have huge numbers participating and we're so very happy to see that. And this is a great way for us to get to know each other. So another person that might want to introduce themselves via chat? Or via online, I'm sorry.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, my name is Darlene Razef. I'm retiring from Oregon State University, adult and higher education in the College of Education. And I am I'm taking on a new position with the Department of Technology, Leadership and Innovation out of Purdue University. Most of my career has been focused on evaluation, and I've been concerned throughout that time with how to build evaluation capacity. So one of the reasons I'm here.
Wonderful. And I have read your work many times. And so I'm just very honored to meet you, and Purdue will be great. It's where I got my doctorate. So excellent. Thank you.
But I will be remaining here in the Portland, Oregon area. All of the work is done online. So
excellent. Great to have you. Thank you. Next person. And I do see we're getting a lot of introductions. So if somebody else would like to introduce themselves online, that's great. And if not, then if I don't see anybody jumping in, then I'm going to go ahead and move to the agenda.
I'll introduce myself really quick before we move forward.
Sure, thank you.
I'm Erin Blackford. I work with the Community Foundation of Utah, and I'm an internal evaluator. It's a small community foundation, and so we are really just starting out on our journey of evaluation. So there's a lot of capacity building that goes into that, even within our small team. And so I'm here to learn from some of the best and brightest as we continue on our journey.
Perfect. Thank you. And I know that we're getting a few people that are jumping in right now because there are a lot of different business meetings going on. So I want to welcome all of you that have come a few minutes in a delayed process. And I do want to share that people have been introducing themselves both online and in the chat, and being mindful of what has been shared with me by Tom about making sure that I have placed the information for the business meeting in the chat because people who come later need to be able to see it. So I just want to make sure that I'm doing that. And what I'd like to do now, just being very mindful of our time, we're at 3:20. I'd like to shift over to what we have that we will be discussing as a TIG. Again, the leadership team consists of Cheryl and Marcella, Tom, and Sally, and also Montana, who wasn't able to join us today, Montana Gain. And so that is our leadership group. And so right now I have sent to everybody, and I have put it on chat, what we're going to talk about, and just give you a little bit of updates. And so I want to reach out to my other team leaders and tell them or ask them to jump in whenever they'd like to. What we'd like to do is kind of share what we've been able to do over this past year. As you know, everybody has experienced COVID. We have had ups and downs in our membership, and what I'd like to do right now, let me see if this will be successful. I'm going to hit share my screen. And please feel free to just jump in. Don't wait to be called on if you have questions or concerns, and I'll make the assumption you can see my screen. And I do apologize, I'm used to teaching. Just, if I sound like I'm lecturing, jump in on me. So just some updates that we have. Our membership has gone both up and down. Cheryl and I have discussed recently that we both seem to have gotten different numbers on our request for membership from Zachary, and I'm sure that's due to many things. But in 2019, we had almost 800 participants, and this year we're below that number. I do feel that a lot of that has to do with COVID and the lack of being able to spend, people being either out of work or having no ability to spend through their organization or their university. But we do want to keep this, be very mindful of this and see what we can be doing to increase our membership. I've attended the business meetings of this TIG a couple of times and in the past 5 years, and it's wonderful to see so many being able to join virtually. So this past year, we had a wonderful opportunity. Marcella, would you like to talk about just for a few minutes, talk about the selfies that you were able to, webinars that you were able to organize and share with the group? Marcella, we can't hear you. We still can't hear you. Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Move the mouse too fast. So I was saying in 2019, I organized a panel for the AA on capacity building for foundations. And it was called Time for a Selfie, Evaluation Capacity Building for Funders. And this is, again, based on my many years of experience working with nonprofits and foundations and trying to find some common ground for both groups on what does it mean to really build evaluation capacity and how they can both contribute to it. But as I always work more with the nonprofits, funded by the foundations to do that work, I thought it would be interesting to turn the mirror around and have the funders share their own stories of building their own internal evaluation capacity. So that panel, which was very well attended, and I had 3 national, regional, and local funders present, turned into a webinar that we did in May. And then because it was well received, and I continue to find more examples of funders that are very committed to their own internal evaluation capacity, I did another round. We did another round in just September. It was also well attended, and it continued on the topic of building evaluation capacity and so for foundations. So I continue to look for more examples that hopefully will fuel more webinars on this topic, as I think that there is a lot of interest out there and great examples to share with peers and with others who are interested in learning more about this topic. So hopefully we'll have more webinars on this coming up.
And we want to thank Tom for, he's the one who
Yes.
actually handles all the technical issues for our
Yes.
webinars. And we were able to reach out to all of the affiliates throughout United States for these webinars and have many of them be a part, because not every AEA affiliate is actually a member of AEA. And that was just a wonderful experience. We received many emails thanking us for remembering them and reaching out to them. So I wanted to share that information.
And also, I think, Chris,
I'm sorry.
I was going to say that I also forgot to say that we had co-sponsor these webinars with the nonprofit and foundations TIG and the internal evaluation TIG as well, the last one. So this is, we've been able to reach to other members of AEA by partnering with other TIGs.
Yes, and that's wonderful. And we want to encourage everybody that's here, if you have some ideas and you'd like to partner us up with another group that you belong to, we're looking very forward to that and being able to reach out. As we know, we all have limited ability to travel or actually do much of anything with COVID right now. So we'll be looking to do more of this in the future. Cheryl, would you like to just give us a little bit of the snapshot of the member survey, and I will follow up after you with this?
Sure. Well, Chris sent me the membership survey that she had administered last January. So as we were having conversations in our TIG leadership team meeting about what possible services we could provide to all of you as members, I thought it would be helpful for us to get a better sense of who our members were. So I just did a really quick analysis, which you see on the screen there, of the respondents to the survey. Now, realizing that we have more members than we do have respondents, which we all know happens when you're doing any kind of data collection. We had a total of 137 people respond to the survey. And so this is the breakout of those 137 individuals. We had 40% were independent consultants or worked for a larger consulting firm. 22% were working for a college or university. 22% were working for community agencies and nonprofits. 19% government agencies, 12% foundations, and 1% business industry, which is interesting because it's pretty close to what those of you who did introduce online through the chat and through live, we do have a representation of most of those areas here today. So that's, I guess, a good indicator that this sort of breakout is fairly representative of our TIG membership. And then 67% of those consider themselves to be full-time evaluators, 13% are part-time, 12% are occasional consultants off the side of the desk, I would expect, and then 3% are new or have no professional experience as of yet. So that's just kind of a quick snapshot. Anyway, thanks for asking me, Chris.
You bet. Thank you, Cheryl, for sharing that. And one of the things that we did find as we had shared out this survey, as Cheryl mentioned in January of last year, is that we did have a lot of individuals who had indicated that they might be somewhat confused about what we actually do as a TIG. They were looking to grow their own evaluation capacity building as opposed to growing the capacity building of actually groups and organizations. So it appears that we might have some clarity work to do on that. One of the big things that our TIG has spent our meetings discussing is what do we need to do to not only grow our TIG, but to actually be able to be productive and be able to give resources that are available to people. So we really focused on coming up with some working groups. These are groups that could meet independently once a month or whatever works best for them to discuss things that are important to what you want to see in this organization. So here are some of the suggestions that I culled out of our discussion. So we talked about the research. This is something that Cheryl and Marcella had brought up, is looking at the changes in the proposal topics that have been shared within the last 5 years. What are people wanting to either present on, to talk about in terms of roundtables or birds of a feather? And so that was brought up by both of the Cheryl and Marcella, as being wanting to look over those in the last 5 years, if we are able to get that. And Cheryl or Marcella jump in to see what it's the change that we're seeing in our topics related to the actual change that we're seeing within the field of evaluation in the terms of research, or is it a change that's being actually motivated by the stakeholders that we work with? And
I'm sorry, Christina, can you make it larger? I don't know about other people, but it's so tiny. I wish my eyesight was better.
Oh, I am so sorry. Hang on just a minute.
That's okay. I really want to read what's there. It's just so small. Oh, that's so great. Thank you.
Okay, I apologize, everybody.
No worries, no worries.
Okay, so we talked about these working groups. We think this is a much better fit for our TIG, is to set up these working groups so people could really, we could get more individuals engaged, and we could get them to work on issues that are important to them within their field. So as I said, we talked about the proposed topics that we're seeing introduced by members of the TIG. What are they addressing? What are concerns that they're seeing with their stakeholders or within the field of organizational learning? And so Marcella and Cheryl both talked about, maybe we could look over the past 5 years and we could look at a relational study in terms of, does this fit what we're seeing in the literature, in our journals? Does it fit what we're seeing on AEA Web? Where is some of this coming from, and how do we begin to address this? So that's one working group. And what we're going to do is go over these and have people just jump in and ask questions. But we also want you to suggest or email to any of us with the leadership group about what you might be interested in working on or working with, or maybe you have some other ideas as well. We are obviously in the process of updates to our website, and as you have seen, almost all the websites with AEA have undergone some changes. We welcome webinar suggestions. Who would you like to hear from? What is the topic that you'd like to speak on, and what should we do there? And so please, we're very open to doing those. What we try to do is make sure that we're offering these at a time that may be advantageous for not only organizations, maybe lunch hour or whatever, but also to our new scholars and upcoming grad students. So here's another one that I think is pretty critical. At my university, I've seen this become the topic that we're all focused on, is responding to the challenge of COVID. So what resources are available? A lot of what we're seeing now is a lot of the IRBs at the university level and at the hospital level are limiting what we can and cannot do. So how do we continue to help our stakeholders and the organizations be able to collect data, or even be able to successfully handle the technology needs that we may have? So I'm going to stop for a minute and ask if people have questions or anything that anyone wants to contribute. I'm also being very conscious of our time.
Chris, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, this is Marcella again. I was going to say on webinar suggestions, one opportunity that we think would be very aligned with the times are opportunities for people who presented, who put together abstracts and proposals for AEA this year, but because of the switch to the non-in-person meeting, they were not able to present. So if you still think you have a very hot topic and you would have been invited to present and you want to do that, please reach out to me. I would be happy to help you think of how you could turn that abstract or presentation you had in mind into a webinar. that could be made available to all of our TIG and other TIGs as well. So if you're interested, my name is at the bottom and you can contact me and I will gather that information.
Can you put your contact information also in the chat so we can easily copy and paste it?
Sure.
That'd be great. And yeah, I love this idea. I'm really interested in that webinar. I'm also on the Nonprofit and Foundation TIG Leadership Council, and we are having the same conversation if you're that you just described, which is great. I will also add to that, we did an event in early September, and the way we structured it is just a few questions or thinking about a topic that we focused on, and then breaking into Zoom breakout rooms. And, you know, for formatting, I would suggest or have people consider, I know I've been doing this more in my own online workshops, is still using the breakout room so people are interacting and talking more, which is great in this time of COVID where we're more isolated than we were before. So in terms of a format suggestion, if that's, you know, available, if people are open to that, I'm just sharing it worked really well when we did that format.
That's great. Thank you. I do want to follow up your comment. So our university is using Microsoft Teams. The advantage of Teams is it does give you a transcript of your meetings. And so for those of us who obviously don't have an ASL person available so that all can be involved, we could certainly use something like Microsoft Teams. And that way transcripts would be available, what is discussed. So that's a thought that we could have as we strive to be very inclusive, but thank you very much. Other thoughts on any of this that you've seen so far? Okay, here's the one thing we might want to think about on our website is putting together lists of resources available as to help our stakeholders and to help ourselves. How do we go about collecting data? How do we handle these very difficult processes? So I have just done a presentation for my university on this, and so I will be sharing those. There was a lot of individuals that crowdsourced these during the summer. So we have various materials that show, guess what? You can use this and you can use this and you can use this. So that I think would be excellent, and we encourage others to submit as well. Another thing that we might want to think about is developing an archive for research in the field of OL-ECB. So the archive would allow us to collect data, all types of data, from video to observant data, and place in an archive that will allow us to take a different approach or lens to it and come back into that archive and re-examine the data in terms of OL-ECB. So we might want to think about this. These are just all open ideas, everybody. So please feel free to jump in and make comments. Yes.
Again, Marcella here.
Yes, Marcella.
One of the things that we really need help with is the website, because a lot of these resources are, you know, need to be gathered and put together and organized in our website. And that requires, you know, some expertise that not all of us have or are good at. So if anybody who's listening feels that you could participate in you know, taking some leadership on helping us develop our website so we can be more active out there, that would be great. You know, a place to store information and to share resources. So please let us know.
Thank you, Marcella. That's really terrific. Social media, so I'm pretty active on social media. I've seen an uptick in materials sent out by various TIG members. Is that something that our TIG wants to get into the process of doing? The research on education TIG, or research on evaluation TIG is very active. There are some others. If you'll notice that the new evaluators and grad student TIG has been developed and they've become quite active. So maybe this is something that we want to think about as well. The other thing that our group has talked about extensively is thinking about what is our process for elections and movements within the various leadership roles? We do want to put together a working group that would discuss how best is that. Should we think about doing some introduction, some background, and then people vote? And then if we're in a process of moving forward in succession, does the co-chair does the co-chair have to move into the chairperson place? What if they don't? These are types of things that right now we don't really have well established. And so this is something that we would like to take a look at as a working group. I don't have on here, but I will tell you that Cheryl and Marcella have both been working very diligently on developing a program chair handbook or guidebook. Am I using the right words, Cheryl or Marcella? That talks about how program chairs go through the process of, when people submit their proposals and sending it out to reviewers and things like that. Is that Cheryl or Marcella?
Yeah, Marcella was taking the lead on that right now. And she was also working with the K-12, pre-K-12 TIG, because they already had one. So it's a collaborative effort, and I'll jump in and assist, but I think Marcella's taking the lead right now.
Well,
Okay.
yeah, because I have one more year as chair, and last year, when we started, we were asking questions of the previous program chairs, and so we said, well, why don't we just put it down on paper? And we did reach out to other TIGs, and this one in particular, the K through 12, share theirs. And the goal is to make it easier for people to transition from one role to another. So if you're scared of taking on a new task within the TIG, then some of these materials would help you go through it without feeling like you're totally overwhelmed and starting from scratch. So
thank you, Marcella. And I think that's really critical I think it's critical for all TIGs, but we do appreciate the leadership that Marcella has offered on that. And as well, we're talking about, dissertations or thesis award. There are a number of us that work at various universities or are in nonprofits that would think about, maybe this is something we ought to be thinking about for our graduate students to show not only how they address things like evaluation capacity building in their dissertations or organizational learning, and that helps share out with others as to the approach, literally what's the theory, what's the logic of inquiry that they've used, how do you do an applied dissertation, meaning not theoretically focused, and how does that move through the process of a dissertation? So one of the things is I work with doc students and thinking about this process. This does not have to be a funded award, more a paper award, like outstanding dissertation for all those that were submitted during this time period. Because not every dissertation, as all of you probably know, or thesis gets published. So we may miss out on some really great information being shared. And this might be a good thing to move a little bit forward on our research. Other things would be possible mentoring for incoming new evaluators. And I do think that mentoring is a really key process that we need to have in place, especially for people that are building evaluation capacity, because it takes a while to understand how you move forward with that. And with organizational learning, of course, is the same process. As I did say, I'm more familiar with evaluation capacity building. I worked for Cooperative Extension for years and years. Susan Barkman and I, Ellen Taylor Powell, we did a lot with logic models and getting them out there when they first came through. So, but how do we mentor new scholars, young scholars, scholars to the field? How do we possibly mentor them in these roles and help them make a successful bridge from whatever they have been in into this field? So, these are working groups. We very much want to make these operational and have these going within, couple of months, and the sooner the better, as I believe it will really strengthen our TIG and strengthen our overall professional organization as well. I did put at the bottom, we'd love to hear from you. Here's some email addresses for leadership team members that you could reach out and share our ideas. Before we go, I do want to remind everybody that we were allotted 2 slots for presentations, and we do have two very excellent presentations or sessions that are coming up. They're both tomorrow. One's at 2 to 2:45. It's Power Up Facilitation, Internet Inspired In-Person and Virtual Tools for Group Learning. That's going to be from 2 to 2:45. And then from 3 to 3:45, we have Our Journey to an Equity Culture. What can we learn from one another as we seek to engage in more equity conscious evaluations? And so we want to, if you are enrolled and if you can attend those sessions, that would be great. And for everybody who participated in handling reviews for this past year with everything that was going on, we want to thank you for taking the time to review for our TIG and for any TIG that you reviewed for, but thank you because that takes a lot of time and effort. And we also want to thank all of you who submitted proposals but may not have been chosen. We do understand that we had only 2 slots, so I'm going to echo Marcella's comment. Please feel free to reach out to her if you'd like to, as we would like to think about possibly using proposals that were submitted but not chosen for the 2 sessions to possibly do a webinar on your topic, or maybe we do some birds of a feather, something like that in the near future, so that we can continue to share the good work that's being done by the organization.
Chris, other possibilities, again, building up on that, or 365 short 500-word essays that could also be inspired by the work that you wanted to present at the conference, but were unable to. And another area that we could definitely look into are like coffee breaks. I participated in a lot of the independent consultant. They have weekly lunch kind of short lunch, half an hour gatherings and talks about different topics that people suggest. And those are very helpful. So if you're interested in using any of those platforms, again, let me know. And as soon as we get our website organized and an agenda for the rest of the year put together, then we can start reaching out to those who are interested in volunteering.
And I want to follow up with letting you know that if you do happen to belong to the American Educational Research Association, they will be doing their conference in April online. If you do get a chance to maybe even look at that, it might be a good idea to look at the way they have presented posters, the way they're going to use their platform for posters. As I certainly have been suggesting to AEA, to the leadership there, that poster presentation would allow us to be able to expand what we can offer our audience as poster presentations, which is often, as many of you know, great ways for people to share and have time to have full discussions about their work. So I think as we continue to live under the COVID issues, we might want to look at things such as platforms for online posters. So I wanted to make sure that we left enough time, as I'm going to stop sharing right now, left enough time for us to have some open discussions about the TIG or ideas that you might have, or just sharing out as a whole. So for right now, I'm just going to open this up to comments.
All right, this is Stan Capella. One of the things that would be really good is a lot of nonprofits are going through an accreditation process, especially because of Family First and child welfare. In fact, I'm just finishing my 4th review in the last 5 weeks. I went from North Carolina to North Dakota to Missouri. I'm now in Georgia, and I will end up in Tennessee. But a lot of nonprofits are going through an accreditation process, and I could see, you know, a need, especially they have this PQI standard that in the Council on Accreditation that you got to meet. But there's definitely a need for a number of nonprofits that are going to need to understand this, you know, around organizational learning and how you could use evaluation to help you strengthen the organization. In fact, I'm just finishing off this site visit in Georgia. It's a Methodist Children's Services, and it's fascinating. 3 years ago, they had some major issues, and it's fascinating how they were able to use the accreditation process to really put their organization together. So I don't know if anybody has an interest, but this is one of the areas.
Stanley, thank you. I think that's very interesting, and I'm wondering about other nonprofit individuals out there who belong to nonprofits or work for nonprofits. Is this something that all of you might be interested in that we could look at focusing on?
I'd sure be interested in being involved as an independent who works with a lot of nonprofit folks. It's a great idea, Stan.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be perfectly honest with you, because especially the agencies that do child welfare, they're going to be going after Family First funding, and Family First actually requires the organizations to be accredited either by COA, CARF, or the other one. I forget what it is, but again, more and more of the nonprofits are going to have to go through some type of an accreditation process. So in child welfare, this is going to be a big thing. And the other thing too is the managed care. In the developmental and intellectual disability world, there's going to be a very big push on managed care. So that's another area, because again, for a lot of nonprofits, they really do not understand how to do performance metrics or to convene people, stakeholders together to come up with ideas. So that's going to be another area that's going to be a big push. And you've got a lot of nonprofits that basically have no idea how to do this.
That's wonderful. And I think what we'll do is I've taken down, and everybody, just to share with you, this is being recorded, taken down your information, and we'll just reach out as a whole and see who we can get that's interested, so that we can begin to talk about this, especially, as you said, with the disability groups, and what's coming forward with that will be critical for probably all of us to know, but I would love to do that.
Great idea.
I do want to share, we're talking a lot about the mentoring here in the chat. I do want to share that last year when I was in wherever we were, Minneapolis last year, the New York, and maybe it was the Washington affiliate evaluators group, had some great mentoring programs. And I know that we were working on one and are still working on one out of Ohio, the Ohio Program Evaluators Group. And so what I could do is reach out and ask them if they would perhaps do a presentation for us on their mentoring programs, because we know that building that bridge is the only thing that's going to be really successful for evaluators, because no matter what degree you get in school, oftentimes what you don't learn there, you have to learn on the job. And sometimes that's not as successful as we wish it could be. So we might want to look at to see what mentoring programs, so we're not reinventing the wheel, but curating what's best for us on that process. Other people that want to talk. Oh, Sarah, you have said the Atlanta affiliate does pro bono work with NGOs, and that includes an element of mentoring. They'll probably be happy. So the chat is, I always save chats, everybody, and I will send the chats out with the recording to everybody. And that way you can look back over and see maybe somebody that jumped in afterwards and had some things that you were very interested in.
And speaking of volunteering, I wanted to share also a resource that I found since COVID, because we're spending more time inside. Some of our traditional sources of contracts have gone away. And so I find that I have more time in my hands, but I still, I love to volunteer. There is a foundation called the Taproot Foundation, and they are a skill-based volunteering site where they basically match people with professional special skills to nonprofits and organizations that are looking for someone to help them. And I've already been matched to 2 nonprofits that are looking for someone to help them with evaluation, capacity building. And we've done all of our work remotely. It is great, doesn't pay, but it's still putting all of our knowledge and skills to work. So I encourage others to check it out, the Taproot Foundation. They do a very good job at following up and matching organizations with skilled volunteers.
And Marcella, may I ask you, would you put that information into chat?
Yep.
And that way everybody could be able to reach out to it?
Sure.
Great.
I do want to share that I've been working with Saudi Arabia and some other countries in the Middle East, and they are very anxious to become a part, or anxious isn't the right word. They're looking forward to working with our TIG and others, of course, because they want to be very focused on building their evaluation skills. So I will share that out as well. It's as we look at culture in the making, I think that's a critical issue for us to consider as we begin to work, or lots of us have already done this, but more intentional work with people from other countries. And if we just remember Agar's work about culture in the making, I think that that's a good one for us to build on. And I do want to share with everybody, I have the Zoom, so it's my account. We can certainly go longer than an hour. You don't need to leave, but I'm very conscious that AEA said that to remind everybody that these business meetings are to be an hour long, but if you choose to stay, that is great. If not, and need to go, we will be following this and sending out the recordings and the chat to you as well. So, because we're right at 3:57 in case anyone has to skedaddle and head to a different meeting. Other thoughts that we might have as working groups or reaching out about leadership roles. We do encourage our graduate students and our undergraduate students as well to get involved at all levels. So please don't think that you need to be established in your career to be part of this. Other thoughts, anybody?
In fact, I was going to say that, this is how when I was a brand new evaluator, this is how I got to know AEA, and so many of the people that I still am networked with was by getting involved in TIG. So if you see something that intrigues you, a possible role, dive in. Don't worry about, your level of experience. We've got a range of experiences and a pretty good culture of support and help. So.
And Mindy, we can certainly follow up as to how to do this. And so either I or one of the others will immediately reach out to how to get set up and going. This also gives you, by getting involved in a TIG, allows you to network, and through the networking, you'll find other TIGs that work well with you. Is also, I do want to put into a plug for the research on evaluation. TIG, as they do a lot of work with how do you go about publishing your materials, and have done some fantastic webinars. Probably one of the best things you can do is make sure you're signed in to AEA or follow somebody who on social media who is a follower of AEA, as you can find out when these various webinars are offered. They usually require no funds, they're free, and you can participate in them. And so we can do that. If you follow me or Tom, I'm just thinking of the 2 people I know right now off the top of my head. on Twitter, you will see that we're almost always going to post what's coming out in AEA on free webinars or, you know, other opportunities. But that's just a good way for you to say, oh, this is happening. I'm just going to register. And you can often, almost everybody shares the recordings out with you as well. So if you do miss it, because we have busy schedules, then you can listen to the recording. Other questions, or just opening it up for any type of chat, things that you might want to see. Sally, please.
I just want to say, draw attention to Elizabeth's comment in the chat. I've noticed in the chat several people saying I'd be interested in being part of a working group or volunteering. In order to sort of capture that and what people's specific interests are, could we go ahead and set up a Google form of some kind to share with everyone on this call, and with the various options, and just get some.
Sure, I think that would be great. And so because Zoom is great at capturing everybody, we will send it back out. I'll also send it back out to the group as a whole in case somebody was unable to make it. And that way they, you know, we'll just list, and you can indicate by the traditional check or X, whatever you want to be a part of, and then we can gather and start those groups off. So that would be wonderful. And there's all types of platforms that you can use, whether it's Zoom or GoToMeeting or Microsoft Teams, to do this kind of work. Other questions or thoughts, things that we may have not addressed that you wish that we had? I just want to remind everybody that we have 2 presenters that are representing, that were sponsored by our group for tomorrow. If you get a chance, please Zoom in and watch their sessions, and that would be wonderful. And you do know that when you sign up for AEA, I think you can literally get 5, you can sign up for 5 TIGs. Sally, am I right that it's 5 TIGs?
That's my recollection. It's always been up to 5. Yeah.
Up to 5. So if you would want to do that, that's certainly something that you should look forward to. The TIGs are very friendly. This is a very, very, very friendly organization. And so with great encouragement for all individuals who participate. So I just want to encourage you to do that. Well, we still have a lot of people online, and that's fine. If you want to chat or talk, or if you need to leave, we certainly understand that. And for everybody that's leaving now, we want to thank you. It was great to have so many participants. And this seemed to be a very good way to hold a virtual business meeting, or our business meeting. So maybe this is something we need to adapt to. So I can't thank you guys enough for coming in on today, especially towards the end of the day period. Other questions? Yes.
If may I just share my thoughts with you?
Please.
I have been working for my organization like more than 20 years. And the most work we did lots of performance audited, but also we did some evaluation. And actually, I think we did some good work and wonderful evaluation. But until now, we are still eager to uprise or to strengthen ourselves. We don't feel that we are at some good level in evaluation, because we are not really following standards. So we are looking for, as organization, to professionalize to make our work professional.
Mm-hmm.
So we need a lot of maybe capacity building, and for that, and just now we are really looking, me and my friends, some friends and me, some colleagues, I mean, and me, for maybe we were talking to make some certification, and we don't know if we got like quick certification, not for 2 years or something like that. it can help us to be at this good level that we want to be. And actually we work a lot on qualitative methods, but still the quantitative methods we need to master them. So, and also because we are working for the government and it's very specific, we are working at the post implementation programs and the projects and the policy, and sometimes the topics are not are difficult to be evaluated. So we need we are at this time to make our work more professional with standards, and so maybe we can learn from your TIG something that's help us to go further in our work. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that. And I will respond back to you on email as well. I want to share that they have Claremont College or University in California does some wonderful certificate programs, and I've participated in many of them, had my students participate in many of them, and those have been phenomenal. And so I will share those out with you, and also share out some of the other TIGs that you might be interested in. But I do think that we are all in the same stage of learning. Some may have more experience than others, but everybody is learning through these various organizations. So I am certainly happy to share that out. Sally, did it look like you wanted to say something?
Well, I was going to say the Canadian Evaluation Society, I'm afraid I don't have enough in my long-term memory about their certification process, but they do have a process which I don't. Is anybody on the call? Has anyone been involved with that process before I start saying what I think I remember?
All I've done is follow them as follow them. I haven't been involved with it, but yes, I know kind of where I think you're going.
Well, so I think my vague recollection is that it doesn't require you to take specific courses, I don't believe, but the process is more, I don't know, my memory is that it was more of an inventory of what is your experience in these areas, and I guess they make some determination. The CES makes some determination. Oh, thank you, Tom's put the link in
Tom,
there.
excellent.
Aziz, I would encourage you to follow the link that Tom Archibald just put in the chat. I feel like there might be something there that would be helpful, even if it's just kind of, like I said, an inventory for if one were to be accredited or certified as a professional evaluator. I think it's the process outlines fairly clearly what the expectations are.
And to introduce you, Tom has done a lot of international work as well. So he might have a very different approach to this, but he has done some, and Tom, correct me if I'm wrong, a lot of work in Africa. And so he might also be familiar with some of the European evaluation organizations as well, or organization. But we will be reaching out to you with this. And so, and please feel free to continue to correspond with us about these issues. Danielle, I see your hands up. Daniela.
Sorry,
That's okay.
I didn't mean to raise my hand. I think I inadvertently pressed the button while trying to multitask on my phone. I'm sorry, but I'm still listening to you.
Don't worry, we play this constant game all the time with hands up, hands down. So please don't apologize whatsoever. Anyone else have anything to share?
I was gonna say, I put it in the chat, but as far as maybe a guide to help any organization or foundations that you're working with try to understand evaluation and learn how they could use it. Elena Harmon wrote a book called The Great Evaluation Reboot or Rebrand. And it's available on Amazon. And she explains how each member within the organization, how their role is essential to evaluation and how they tie into the larger picture. And she wrote the book clearly without any evaluation jargon. So that may be a good place to start.
Wow, that's wonderful. I will share that out with, and I'll add the link into the Amazon as well. Thank you so much. That's a great contribution to share that, because without the evaluation jargon, I think that a lot of people will be able to maybe understand a little bit deeper.
Thank you.
You bet. And Jennifer, yep, I think, but keep in mind, I've recorded it. So I will send you what was said in the chat so you can catch up that way. And we know that everybody was in different TIG groups. So please don't worry. You'll hear the whole thing.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Good
You
to see
bet.
everybody.
You bet. Any questions you might have, Jennifer? Anything at all? Okay. Other questions or concerns, everybody? I don't want to keep anybody if they need to move along to anything else, maybe even have class to teach or another meeting yet tonight. So okay, at this point, I'll go ahead and end the meeting. I again want to thank everybody for your contributions. It's amazing today what we were able to talk about and discuss and see what the interests of our groups are. This is probably one of the best business meetings I've attended, and minus of course the food and the drink and other things you might do in normal real life, but wonderful group, and I am so honored to be associated with this. So thank you very much. I'm literally going to copy the chat, send everything that we find in the chat, and then send it back to not only everybody who participated, but also everybody that is in our membership. And if you do know, or you are not currently a member, please let me know. And if you want to become a member or whatever, sorry, let us help you with that as well. So again, thanks everybody, and you'll be hearing from us. We look forward to these working groups. Bye everybody, take care.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, thanks everyone.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you very much. Thank you.